Now remember when Trump posted it's a great time to buy? It was the exact bottom in the S&P 500 in the run lower in March and April 2025. Now I'm bringing this up because I want you to understand how important it is to listen to these kind of comments about the stock market from, the US president, but in this case, from specifically Trump, obviously, whether you like it or not. Because here's the reality that most traders don't want to admit. When the president of the United States talks about markets, and especially Trump talks about markets, you gotta understand that he's not just talking, he's sincerely intent, he's pretty much giving away his agenda. And just a couple of days ago, he did it again. But before we get into that, let's slow this down a little bit and actually think for a second. Because what I'm about to walk you through is not politics, it's power and incentives. And these two things move markets more than any indicator you ever put on a chart. Let's go back to April 2025. Markets were messy, the reciprocal tariff stuff where Trump just went wild. We understood it was a negotiation tactic, and we're seeing that repeating now. Trump just puts out a tariff threat, gets what he wants, negotiates a little bit, and then he walks it back. But let me explain what I'm going here. Markets were messy, tariffs everywhere. And right in the middle of that, right when the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, everything, the DAX, everything was dropping 20%, 60%. And then, right at the bottom, Trump says, this is a great time to buy. Now, this is where most people get this wrong. They see these and they treat it as noise. Well, obviously you can see from this chart that it's not noise, but let me explain. Think about who's actually saying it's coming. Now, whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. He is the person in charge. So after this post, you can see what happened. Right after that, he authorized a 90-day tariff pause and substantially lowered the reciprocal tariffs, pretty much changed the complete risk sentiment. This post went from tariffs, silly high tariffs for everyone to, okay, let's talk and let's negotiate. We're going to bring those tariffs down. And obviously markets like that pretty much. Now, stop right there because with what I just showed you, keep that in mind. And now watch this.
And that I can tell you. Our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. But that dip is peanuts compared to what it's gone up. And we have an unbelievable future in that stock. That stock market is going to be doubled. We're going to hit 50,000 and that stock market's going to double in a relatively short period of time because of everything that's happening.
The stock market will double. This was Trump just yesterday at the World Economic Forum. Now, this is where most traders mess this up. Again, they hear the speech and think, oh, he's just talking. Oh, this is noise. It's just pumping the market. It's manipulating the market. Well, guess what happened a couple of hours after his speech? He announced that he got a deal for Greenland and all the tariffs that were set to go into effect on February 1st were being removed. Now, let me simplify this to the core of it. Let me put it very simply. Stupid is simple, but follow me. If Trump does something stupid, stocks fall. Obvious, simple, logical. If Trump does something positive, stocks rise. Okay, what am I even saying here? This is obvious. This is almost stupid, but it's the truth. It's pretty much the system right now. It's not the whole system, but it's deeply embedded in it. Trade policy, tariffs, negotiations, geopolitics. He owns it all. What he does with those dictate the kind of volatility and the kind of moves that we get in the stock market. So if he says he cares about the stock market and he thinks that the stock market will double, that's something we have to listen to because he cares about it. The stock market is his scoreboard. It's how he measures his success. It's how he sells success. So let me pull back the curtain here. The President of the United States is telling you out loud that he wants stocks to go higher. He's saying it directly in front of the world. And especially this year, heading into the midterm elections, it's so obvious that he wants the stock market to be as high as possible. Now, if he wants the stock market to be as high as possible, what are the chances that he's going to, do something so wild like imposing a 20% tariff on the European Union? It's very low. He knows to get the stock market where he wants it he's gonna have to do everything right. Now, can things outside of Trump's control actually ruin this? Well, of course. But trading is not about certainty. It's about probability and alignment. And right now, incentives, policy tone, forward guidance are all aligned in one direction for US equities. Now, quick context before I get to the full meat of this video. As you already know, we've been long-term bullish on gold for quite a while. We didn't guess it, we just followed the context, the narrative, the structure, geopolitics. We understood liquidity, we understood the central bank was expanding the liquidity and such and all that. And that move is now playing out. So now comes the point of this video. Our next long-term directional view, one that will trade along the way like we've been doing with gold upside, is the S&P 500 to at least 7,800 this year. Now, if we look at what institutional desks are projecting also, we see a similar view with, Goldman Sachs seeing the S&P 500 around 7,500 by year end, Morgan Stanley similar 7,500, Citibank 7,700, JP Morgan 7,500, potentially 8,000. All these kind of institutional views are aligned for upside, and we agree with that. So what do we actually do with this? Direction. It's simply direction. We know the trend. We understand how the trend is most likely going to unfold over the next 3 to 6 months for the S&P 500. And what you do when you know the trend, you ride it. So every time the S&P 500 is going to give an opportunity to position long, we know when it's going to pull back a little bit, we're going to position and long all the way to 7,500, most likely, I believe, 7,800 before year end. So what do? You simply look for the right timing to get long in this trend and you ride each leg along the way. Fundamentals for direction and then technicals for entries along the way.